Okay, so today's talk is all about Twitter profiles, how to look your best on the platform, and then some basics of Twitter functionality, just so that you're comfortable with the lingo and comfortable with how to operate on the platform. So that's where we're going to start today. Keeping in mind that we do have these 5 steps to social media success front and center as we think about how to grow our business on the social media platform. So of course, classes like this are step 1 in education. Step 2 is you got to have good content. If you are signed up for Soundboard, hopefully you're on one of the plans that we tweet for you, so you've got good content going out every single day and you don't have to think about it on Twitter. Of course, you do have to stay on top of your notifications, which leads to part 3, and that's branding. How do you come across as a presence on these platforms? And today we'll talk specifically about how do you come across on Twitter. How do you gauge your audience? How do you know what your audience is interested in? These platforms give you a lot of information about who your audience is and what they care about. So how do we dig in and find that? And then lastly, of course, this leads to conversation. You can't really get to robust conversation and number 5, operating at peak capacity without taking the time to do some of these other things. And then, of course, the missing 6th step here is to grow your business. So we'll be taking a look at all of those things in the upcoming 6 weeks set of classes. So let me answer this person's question here. Okay, yes. All right, so today we're going to think in terms of branding. How do you tell your story? How do you come across well, especially on Twitter? How do you look your best? How do you not only, how does the soundboard, provide good content for you, but how do you also infuse what the soundboard's providing for you with your passions and what you care about and come across as yourself, which is an important aspect of this. I was actually reading an article on, maybe Yahoo published it, but it was not 5 minutes ago, talking about how Twitter is changing up their algorithm to clamp down even more on what they consider as bullying, aggressive chatter, and going after fake accounts. And one of the things that was in the article is exactly what we're talking about right here with your profile. If you stay an egg, Twitter is going to actually make you less and less visible to the wider world of Twitter because they think you're not a real person. So the first step in looking your best and coming across as a real person as somebody who knows what they're talking about on Twitter is to make sure your profile looks good. Don't be an egghead. When you create a Twitter account, the first thing that you need to do is go in and fill out that profile. If you don't put an icon into your profile, then you are an egg, which means you have not yet hatched out to the wider Twitter universe. And so we definitely want to show that we've hatched. So you need to do that. You do need to take that time to fill out your bio here. Let's just go ahead and hop over to Twitter. We're at Juice Plus Helper, which is the Twitter handle I run to answer questions about the soundboard. So first thing first, and this is the most important thing, is to put an image here in this little 400 by 400 pixel box, either of yourself or of product. I recommend doing it, having a good picture of yourself. Be a real person here. Then you have this big banner background back here that is obviously a very strange shape. It's very widely stretched. It's hard to find an image that fits perfectly in there. But if you have, a picture of the mountains behind your house or the ocean or something that you love, you can do that. It doesn't have to be real product centric here. Then you definitely need to take the time to fill out your bio space here. You have 140 characters to tell the world about yourself. I highly recommend that. Sunny Because I've got my audio on. Somebody's having a little trouble with the audio. Sorry about that, man. So I was talking about, yeah, so filling out your bio, tell the world a little bit about yourself. And then this is a great spot to put a link to your Juice Plus site here. You can include a link in your bio. Of course, you can make that to your Facebook page or your branded site if you've got a branded site, but a lot of people put their Juice Plus site there. And I haven't done it because this is a business handle, but I think it's a good idea to put in a location as well if you're a person, because Twitter then will connect you more readily with people in your area. So let's take a look here at, let's just pick on somebody real quick. I'm going to take a look at my followers. And let's see, if you're on the call, I apologize for picking on you. I saw, okay, here's a great example. Leanne. Leanne, if you're on the call, sorry to pick on you. So when you create your Twitter account, and Leanne just joined in the last couple of weeks, so we'll cut her some slack here. But when you create your Twitter account, there's two places that you can put your name. Of course, here, and you can actually put whatever you want here. Twitter doesn't have any restrictions on if there is another Leanne Powell on the platform, you can both put your name there. But what has to be unique is this. This is actually your Twitter handle that comes after the @ symbol. So when you try to type in something, like Leanne Powell obviously tried to type in her name, but that was already taken. And so Twitter made a suggestion, a recommendation for an optional Twitter handle, which was Leanne P, and then these crazy set of numbers. And she accepted it. I highly recommend against accepting Twitter suggestions because Twitter's not creative. If this is not a good Twitter handle name, you're going to have trouble remembering it. No one else is ever going to remember it, and no one's going to take the time to type that in to find you. So not good. But if you get it stuck with a Twitter handle like that, you can change it. Just come up here to your settings, and one of the options, the first option, is you can actually change your name. So keep playing with it until you get a name that you like. So be creative. First initial, last name, JP. Leanne, JP, mom. You know, something like that. Be creative with it, but don't accept that random string of numbers. Not a good way to get found. So let's see. Let's see somebody who's done a good job here. So we've got Kat. Kat's got a pretty picture of herself, a nice fun background here. And then she's got her Juice Plus site. Didn't tell too much about herself, but having fun. And she's from Cyprus, of all places, but she's got her Juice Plus site here. Okay, great job, Kat, on doing this right. Julia, kind of halfway there. So good job. Got the website here. Could use a little bit more info, but fine picture. You don't have to put this banner back here, but it is nice if you do that. And then one other thing I wanted to point out was I saw this one yesterday on a call and thought this was worth noting, is this is not compliant. Don't do anything like this. You're going to get in trouble. So Juice Plus Jasmine, you're in Wales. You're probably not on this call. It's only a matter of time before they find you and stop that. All right, so that's going into your profile. Please take the time to set that up properly. So what do you do on Twitter? Well, you tweet. A tweet is 140 characters of anything that you want to say. Why is it so short? Well, when Twitter was built back in 2006, I think, that was the character limit of a text message, of an SMS text message. And Twitter was trying to kind of build itself as the texting platform of the internet, or some way to combine with texting on your phone to get around all those, back when we had to buy plans where you can only send 50 texts a month, or something insane like that. They have discussed many times since then whether because now obviously from a storage capacity, they can release that limit, but they've decided not to on multiple occasions because it's unique to the platform. It makes people succinct. It makes it very easy to consume information on the platform. And if you want to talk a lot, go to Facebook. When a tweet goes out, a tweet is completely public. It can be seen by your followers, but it can also be seen by everybody else on the platform. This is a good thing because we want tweets to be connecting you with people who don't know you, who don't follow you. Another thing that is very amazing and cool about tweets is that every tweet that goes out has its own unique web address, okay? Its own unique URL. So think of every tweet that is published as its own micro mini web page or its own mini blog. And what happens is, because it's so public and because it has its own URL, not only do people on Twitter, your followers and the rest of the platform, have the capacity to see it, but outside search engines can find tweets independently. All right, so if you do this, let's just go to Google and let's just search #healthy. What is the first thing that comes up? Tweets. So when you create a Google search, yes, Google goes out and finds the lists of websites, but it also scrapes all of Twitter. Google and Twitter have this kind of like back-end marriage where all of Twitter is open to Google now. So if you're tweeting on a frequent basis, you can get found by people who don't even have a Twitter account. They may think Twitter's stupid. They don't want to deal with it. But the first couple of things that pop up here are tweets. People can read your tweets through Google. Look, we got another, this is a link to just searching for right there on Twitter itself. So these are very portable across the web. Outside search engines like Siri brings up tweets. If you use a digital magazine like Flipboard or Paperly or Zite, these are these apps where you plug in your social media channels, you plug in your interests, and then it curates these digital magazines for you, and you don't have to go to all these different websites. It's all right there on one spot. If you don't use it, it's really cool. But they're pulling in tweets all the time because tweets are so public. So keep that in mind. When you're thinking about tweeting on the platform, don't limit yourself to thinking about, well, only my followers see it. It's simply not how the platform works. If you want to write a tweet, you just hit the compose a tweet button. On the desktop, that can be found at the top of the screen at any time. On mobile, it doesn't say the word tweet, but it does have this quill inside of the box. And you start typing. We're going to throw a hashtag in here. As we're typing a hashtag, Twitter's suggesting active hashtags for us. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. So it's National Nutrition Month, and we are excited to see what's in store. All right, so March is National Nutrition Month. Notice we have, if we wanted to keep typing, we could. We have 69 characters left. We could add a photo, add a GIF, add a poll question if we wanted to. And then we tweet. Boom. It's out into the wild. Yes, our followers can see it, but so can everybody else in the wide world of Twitter. Now, when you think about tweeting, if you're signed up for the Soundboard tweets for you at least twice a day with good, healthy living content. But you can add to that. Twitter and Facebook are very different in their threshold of content and frequency of posts. If you made 35 Facebook posts a day, at some point your friend network would go, "What are you doing?" And they would either unfollow you or ask you, "Are you okay?" On Twitter, tweets have a shelf life. It's down to about 4 minutes because there's 500 million tweets a day. You can tweet 30 times a day, and I assure you, that no, the same people will not see them all because of the nature of the platform. Facebook connects you with friends, and it keeps putting what it thinks you're interested in at the top of your feed. That may be why you log in 3 times throughout the day and see the same post at the top of the feed, because it keeps getting conversation around it. Twitter's chronological. So the minute you put your tweet in there, it's getting pushed down the list. And people just don't scroll and scroll and scroll forever on Twitter. You don't spend that much time on the platform. So don't feel like if you want to add to what Soundboard's doing for you that you're going to do too much. There's almost no such thing as too much on Twitter. So now let's think a little bit about content. Okay, yes, the Soundboard does provide content for you. We can tweet for you, but there are other things that you are interested in that would make your brand, your online presence, more interesting to connecting with new people. So how do you go out and find stuff to engage with? Well, you can reply to a tweet. Right? So this is a tweet created by Health Ranger, and he's put out a funny little cartoon about the pharmacy, and take 2 of these and call me in the morning. And to reply, you simply hit this arrow button down here, and when you do that, it already populates the tweet with this person's Twitter handle, so that they will get a notification that we are responding to a particular tweet, so the conversation can get started. All right, so let's do this live. Let's go here. Let's go home. This is a live Twitter search, so you just never quite know what's going to happen here. So we've got a couple of suggested posts here. Well, that's rough looking. So this, I'm actually following a lot of people that have signed up for the Soundboard. And here's an example of this account does not follow this person, but somebody that this account follows did an action on a tweet, and so you can also see that. Okay, so this is somebody that is not a Soundboard subscriber. He's a celebrity fitness trainer, but he and I have been going back and forth conversing on this channel about healthy living stuff. He's been very responsive. So here we go. We've got a light workout can help cold or flu symptoms. This is an article that he's posted. All right, and so let's ask him a question. So I hit the reply button. Notice that it has populated his handle, and also I think this is probably the handle of the originator of the article. So let's ask him a question. How sick is too sick to hit the gym? Okay, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now, he's going to get a notification that we've replied to his tweet. Okay, so that is replying, and that's the first and best way to get a conversation going, to get started. Now, a retweet, what is a retweet? Well, similar to a share on Facebook, a retweet is when you see somebody else's content that you like, you hit the retweet button, which are these 2 arrows down here, and it takes that post and it also posts it into your published feed so that your followers have the opportunity to see that. It's a way to acknowledge somebody else's content as, hey, I really appreciate what you've got here. It's worth sharing. It's a good way to get noticed. It's a good way to share, again, content to your own friend network, to your own follower network. And another important aspect of this is it's showing Twitter as a data piece that you are active, that your account is active. We can get into it a little bit more on a different talk, but just FYI, if you sign up for Soundboard and you create a new Twitter account and you hook up your new Twitter account to Soundboard and you never take the time to fill out your profile and you never take the time to get in there and tweet something on your own and you never take the time to retweet other people's content, then what happens is Twitter sees an account that's never actually had any action through it natively. It's only had an outside app published through it, which is ours, which they allow. But at some point, if that continues, that your account gets put in Twitter jail, which means Edge Theory can no longer publish for you. And it stays in Twitter jail until you actually log in and do something in the account to show Twitter that you're a real person and that you're engaged. So I highly recommend, if you're sitting here thinking, well, Soundboard's doing all the work for me. We're doing a lot of the work for you, but we can't do all the work for you because you've got to show Twitter you care and occasionally hop in there and retweet something else, even if it is just Juice Plus. If you just retweet the main Juice Plus handle once a month, you're going to be fine. But please take the time to do that. All right, check this out. Geraldo has already responded. So we sent him our, reply to his article. He says, if you're feeling sick, you might want to take the day off from the gym. Now we can like that, acknowledge that we've seen it, and move on. Pretty cool there. Which brings us to, okay, so this is how to retweet. Simply just hit the retweet arrow there at the bottom of any specific tweet. Now a like is a little bit different. These used to be called favorites. For some reason, Twitter feels the pressure to be more like Facebook sometimes. So a like is a little less public than a retweet, but it's not a private event. Okay, so when you like something, you're doing what I just did to Geraldo, which is, hey, acknowledging that somebody mentioned you or that something happened, and that's the first thing. It's just an etiquette thing. The second thing or way to use likes is how I use them when I'm scrolling through news articles is if I like something, that is a bookmark for me to come back and read the article at a later time. But keep in mind, again, these are not private, because what happens is if you can go to anybody's home, you can go to anybody on Twitter's profile that has a public account, and you can see, first of all, you can see tweets and replies. So if you hit this, you're going to see the conversations that are going on. So this is not a private thing. And you can click right here on likes, and you can see everything that account has liked. So keep that in mind if you were scrolling through and liking stuff hither, thither, and yon. Be aware, it's not a private event, okay? But it does not show up in your timeline to your followers like a retweet does. Okay, so that's why I say it's less public. To like a message, you simply hit the heart on anything that you see. Okay, now let's get into this for a second. Public versus private accounts. As we've been talking about, the value of Twitter comes from the fact that it is so public, that everything that you do can be found by people who don't know who you are and probably don't know what Juice Plus is, but you want to be involved in these larger conversations. You want to be rubbing elbows with new people. It is a blessing that everything that you do on this platform is public. Twitter is not the place for your naked baby photos. Twitter is not the place for, your in jokes with your 2 or 3 best friends that may be a little eyebrow raising. It is not for, if you have a loving enthusiasm for something that may be a little counterculture. I don't know. The point is, you've got to think of yourself as a Juice Plus healthy living brand rep. Let's just pick something absurd. If you're like crazy into Red Bull and you just drink Red Bull all the time and you think Red Bull is the greatest thing ever, and you're trying to be a Juice Plus rep, a little bit of a rub there, okay? So what some people do is they choose to have a protected account. Here's why this is, I think, not a good idea. What happens is when you have a protected account on Twitter, this means the only people who see what you publish are your followers. Nobody else sees it. So right there, you're limiting the ability for Twitter's flat nature to be taken advantage of. So if you have a small account and 12 followers and you think, oh, I've got to keep this locked down tight because we're out there on social media being vulnerable, then I would say maybe consider that Twitter's not the platform for you. On the other side, if you are sharing content that you only want your followers to see, you decide what that would be. Then you have 2 choices. One, take that content to Facebook and just share it with a handful of people. or open up a second Twitter account that can be public, that can reflect who you are, and that you don't care that other people see it. So keep that locked account if you've just got to. If you're, you know, I don't know, an illegal gun importer or something, then by all means, keep that sequestered away. But don't tell Soundboard to tweet through that account, because it's not going anywhere. It's just going to a handful of people. So set up a second handle that can be totally public, and it's all about healthy living, and can be another reflection of yourself. And so keep that in mind, and you wanna do that, because again, when you're tweeting and you're locked, like I noticed Danielle, if you're on the call, picking on you here. Danielle has been on Twitter for a long time, and she has 5 followers, and her account is locked, and I'd have to look up and see if she's a Soundboard subscriber or not. But if she's paying for the Soundboard to tweet for her, the only people who may ever see it are these 5 people. And that means her account has no ability to organically grow. I have done very little work in promoting this Juice Plus Helper handle, but I do tweet through it every single day, healthy living. And for over the past year, I picked up 1,500 followers. So it does happen, but it cannot happen ever if you have a locked account. So don't think you're doing yourself any favors with that. That is my 2 cents there. Okay, so here we go. We're closing in on our half hour. Here's how to find us. Please, if you have not signed up for the Soundboard, we would love to have you. We provide social media content for you so you can spend less time worrying about social media and more time growing your business. So here's how to sign up. We are also in your virtual office under My Personal File. There's a tab called that, and Soundboard's one of the buttons there. And then box me if you have any questions, and we will pick up next week. We'll get a little bit deeper into Twitter and engaging on the platform and some more idiosyncrasies of Twitter itself. So please join us then. And if you I don't see any questions coming through. Last chance, questions, comments, missives, essays. Okie dokie. See you next week. Oh, good, Sony. I'm glad you joined. All right, cool. See ya.